Chaos.radio. Music, podcasts, entertainment.
Hello and welcome to the latest edition of NEWSWAVE, written, produced and recorded in the heart of Cornwall by the team here at Chaos Radio. I'm your host, Tom Howe, and I'll be guiding you through some of the insightful guests and exciting news content that we've enjoyed across Chaos Radio this past week. On today's show, we join participants, volunteers and organisers at Rainbow Run Cornwall as things got colourful at this year's record-breaking Children's Hospice Southwest fundraiser at RAF St Mawgan. We hear from Cornwall Councillor Jack Yelland about the major building safety works that got underway on Trinity Street this week and what they mean for St Austell's town centre. Local author Campbell Allan discusses his new book, Through Adversity to the Depths, detailing the fascinating history of RAF sub-aqua diving and the remarkable work being done to support veterans. And Richard Gray, from a band of brothers mid-Cornwall, explains how the organisation is supporting young men aged 18 to 25 through mentorship and community to help turn their lives around.
NEWSWAVE.
But first this week, more than 1,400 runners and walkers came together in the sunshine at RAF St Mawgan last weekend, raising an incredible £110,000 for local families supported by Children's Hospice Southwest, taking the event's total over the years past a whopping £1 million. Here's Josh Holton, who was out and about chatting to some of the amazing people who made it all happen, including one voice towards the end that you will definitely recognise.
NEWSWAVE.
Amanda, can you tell me a little bit more about this event, why it's so important and what it does for members of the community and families that have been affected by childhood ailments and things like that, please?
Of course, yeah. So the Rainbow Run has been going for 12 years now, and it's raised nearly £1 million, which is so important for Children's Hospice Southwest. We are currently looking after 109 children across Cornwall and Plymouth, and those children and families have had the devastating news that their child is not going to reach their 18th birthday. So to be able to come here, raise money, we're currently over £100,000 for this event. So it means so much for the children and the families that come to Little Harbour. And Little Harbour is the Cornish Hospice up at St Austell. It's the most beautiful place. Our families absolutely love coming to the hospice, and a lot of what we do is supporting the child from point of diagnosis. So a lot of what we do at the hospice is about having fun, making memories and supporting the families when things get tougher.
Yeah, absolutely.
For the people here today, they're going to be raising sponsorship, which is so important. But for those at home, do check out our website, www.chsw.org.uk. There's loads of information about the care and support that we do there. We've also got upcoming events that people can take part in, or if people have got a milestone birthday or they're looking to support a charity, please consider Children's Hospice Southwest.
Okay, so I'm here with Jodie, who is one of the Rainbow Run runners. Jodie, where have you come from and how far are you running?
We're from Plymouth. We are a air cadet crew all across Plymouth and Cornwall, and we've got 22 runners today.
Ah, that's brilliant. Air cadets, do you drive any planes? Do you drive any air things?
Not myself, but some of our cadets have definitely flown over this site.
That's brilliant. And have you done this run before? Are you ready for the running and the paint spraying and...
Yeah, we ran it last year, and this year we've come prepared with goggles and more bright coloured clothing that is going to get trashed.
That's brilliant. And lastly, have you got a favourite colour?
For me, it's definitely going to have to be Air Force Blue.
Brilliant. Well, I wish all of you the best of luck on the run. I know you'll do great.
I like being covered in paint.
You like being covered in paint. You know what? I like being covered in paint. Have you got a favourite colour?
I do. It's pink.
It's pink. I absolutely love pink as well. I also really like yellow. I think you can tell by my trainers. They're quite yellow. And Eleanor, is this your first ever run you've ever done with Rainbow Run?
It's my first time, but I am walking it.
You're walking it. That's brilliant. And how far are you going? Do you know?
3 miles.
3 miles, Eleanor. That's absolutely amazing.
Really big challenge for Eleanor. She's got the whole team, Bossveen team, backing her. She's raised some great sponsorship money, haven't you, for the charity. And Eleanor has a heart condition, so this is a huge challenge for her. And it's amazing. Amazing lady.
Sam, could you tell me a little bit more about who you're running for, how far you're running, etc., etc.?
Okay, so we're not actually running. We are a paint station. So we are the pink paint station because
I see. Sorry.
There is a reason. So our youngest son Seth, on my T-shirt.
Yes.
He died at Little Harbour 5 years ago.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, thank you. So he was cared for by Little Harbour Children's Hospice South West.
Oh yes.
And so having run the Rainbow Run a couple of times in the last couple of years, we've become volunteers. So we are the Pink Pirate Club today.
The Pink Pirate Club, a bit like the Pink Pony Club.
Exactly like that.
Chapel Roan would be very happy.
I'm sure. I mean, I think we've done our best to.
She has, and that's incredible. And to fight for someone, who you lost. Is there anything that you hope this can do for the future of children and their families? So to help prevent this from happening to anybody else.
So Children's Hospice South West is so important to us because they made what was unbearable slightly more bearable, and they continue to support us. And I would just hope that by all the money that's raised here today, it is 100% goes to caring for children and their families who absolutely need it most. And if we didn't have that, our lives would be so much more difficult. It's so important to get people here, to get people running, donating, taking part, and the atmosphere as well. To when your life has been really awful and sad, to come up here and just have a great time and to celebrate Seth's life rather than be sad is
exactly.
amazing.
That's what I've always learnt. You can't be in mourning forever. You got to celebrate and spread the positivity, and I love how you're doing that, especially with all the bright colours. I love the hair and the face paint. And have you come with the whole family then? You've got some friends with you too?
Yeah, so this is my husband, my 3 older children, my parents, some friends, and my son's girlfriend. So there's 12 of us. So we are Team Seth on the Pink Pirate Station.
Team Seth. Well, Team Seth, I just think you're amazing. You've also got a couple pirates with you.
Well, so Seth loved Lego and pirates, and so we are. That is why we are a sort of pirates, although it's gone a little awry. We've got a whole selection of things going on, but the pirates was the pirates was kind of the theme, but it's just kind of escalated.
Yeah, that's just part of the fun. Cooper, why are you here running today?
Because I like running.
You like running. Are you running far?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're running very far. Ooh, very fun. And everybody's very colourful here today, aren't they? Yeah, very, very colourful. And have you done this before? Is this your first ever time?
Yeah.
First ever time. Oh my goodness, that's so inspirational. Cooper, I wish you and everyone running with you a lovely, lovely, happy run and the best of luck. Ollie, what did you think of it? How did it feel? How do you feel now?
I feel great. It feels so good finishing a run. I don't really run much, so I came down here with my girlfriend's dad, do it for charity, and yeah, it's been great.
That's so lovely. Are you running for anyone, or are you just doing it for the cause, or anything like that?
No one in particular. My girlfriend's dad's been working with St Eggs down here for a couple months. They're sponsoring the event, so I figured I'd come down with him, support him do the run. Yeah, it's been great.
That's wonderful. And I mean, you've got loads of different colours all over you. What is your favourite colour?
My favourite colour's blue.
Your favourite colour's blue. Yeah. I can see that. There's a lot of blue and pink. Your arms are very blue, but you go upwards and you get pinker. Yeah. That's crazy. That's great. And I'm loving the star. How far did you run today?
I think it was just under 5k. About 5k. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's brilliant. Well, Ollie, you were brilliant, and well done you. Thank you. So Molly, can you tell me a little bit more about how you felt about the run? How did it feel today?
It's quite hot out there. It really is. But a nice course, nice sea views along the way.
I just realised the lovely sea views. How far have you gone today?
3 miles, so 5k.
Oh, goodness me. Well, very painty high five to that. There we go. And what's your favourite colour? Purple. I don't know if I see any purple on you.
It's the last colour, so it's probably already quite...
Very true. Yeah, you've got yellow on you though.
A lot of yellow.
Yes, yeah, very, very bright and sunny. And are you running for any particular person or any reason? Are you just going?
Group.
You're doing it for what?
With the Dash Group.
Oh, the group. What's the Dash Group?
They're like a logistics company based in Redruth.
How is it? What has it meant to you today, going out and doing this?
It's just, a good chance to raise some money for a good cause, have some fun, get covered in paint.
Well, Josh, let me tell you, I didn't expect to run Rainbow Run today. And Hayley and I and yourself were down at the start line saying 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 for all of the groups that were going past. And then suddenly Kylie, who's running the event today, said, oh, come on, Tom, you can get in as well, be a pace runner. So with no warm-up, no preparation, I jumped in and just did the Rainbow Run.
Oh my goodness me. Well, and what's your favourite colour? I never asked you. I've been asking everybody this.
Good question. I've got a mixture on me now.
You do?
Because I feel like I had like a target on my back because everyone could see chaos,
yes.
and I was in black and everyone else was in white. So they're all just, throw paint all over him. That's fine. So I'm absolutely lagged in it, but it was so much fun.
Yeah.
I got this lovely medal as well.
You do, which is really nice. Look at that. You can keep that with you and cherish it forever. Yes. That is so good. And I understand you did the full 5k as well.
Yeah, I did, yeah. And I was a pace runner, so people were looking at me to try and, I know, isn't that strange?
To try and catch up with you and that.
Oh, yeah. I think
Goodness me.
I think they all passed me, so that's okay. Look, it was great. And thank you to Children's Hospice South West, thank you to RAF St Mawgan, thank you to all of the sponsors, thank you to everyone involved. That was a lot of fun, and we can't wait to do it again next year.
That's true. And lastly, how do you feel after all that running in the heat?
Okay, it's a bit hot today. I was saying that last stretch up the hill is quite a slog with when the sun comes through the clouds, but hey, we made it. And look, it doesn't matter how fast you do it or how you do it. Get to the finish line, raise lots of money, raise loads of awareness. Great job, everyone.
Very true. That's amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
NEWSWAVE.
Oh, who on earth was that? Anyway, major building safety works have begun on Trinity Street, and while it's going to be a big project, the key message is St Austell Town Centre remains open and accessible. I was joined by Jack Yelland, Cornwall Councillor for St Austell Central and Gover, who's been helping coordinate efforts between contractors, Cornwall Council and local partners to minimise disruption.
NEWSWAVE.
My name is Jack Yelland. I'm the Cornwall Councillor representing St Austell Central and Gover. Have been in post since May last year. So basically my job is to act as essentially the liaison between residents and businesses in the area, try to represent our interests as best we can with Cornwall Council and to help facilitate better communications, hopefully between various businesses. And for example, in this instance, we've got lots of people working together to try to mitigate the impact of these works on the town. So I'm calling meetings between the contractors, between the local bid, the town council, to try and keep things flowing as best we can, and that's what I'm trying to help.
Thank you, Jack. Let's start then by outlining the crux of the next few minutes as we move through this interview. Can you just start by outlining exactly what's happening on Trinity Street in St Austell and why these works that we're talking about are so needed?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's quite important to note that this is not actually anything to do with Cornwall Council or even the Town Council per se. Homes England has provided the funding for this project, and the contractors, which are classic builders, are carrying out the works completely independently, just with some collaboration essentially with Cornwall Council's highways team and others to help keep the road network flowing smoothly. So essentially, all of this is happening because of a major building safety upgrade along Trinity Street, covering Trelawney House and Piran Place. So the existing cladding and facade are being removed and replaced to meet modern fire safety standards under the Building Safety Act. And I would just like to say quickly that there's no immediate danger to residents, but the materials essentially no longer meet current requirements. So this is about that long-term safety aspect and bringing the buildings back up to standard.
Brilliant. Right, let's move on to some of those restrictions. What's going to be in place and how traffic is going to be managed in the town as well?
Yeah, not an easy one. So the main change is that Trinity Street will become a northbound one-way road, effective from really early Tuesday morning. There will also be some pedestrian diversions, and the cinema side bus stop will be suspended. The contractors have been very cooperative, and they've done all they can to avoid a full road closure. So the town centre, car park, service yards and businesses all remain fully accessible throughout the period. So the reality is that journeys may take a few minutes longer, but access is being maintained throughout.
Okay, and this project is expected to run at the moment until April of 2028. What have contractors or those managing the project told you about why it might take so long?
Yeah, so this was one of my main concerns when I'd first heard about this project. And to me, it sounded absolutely astounding that something as simple in theory as this could take so long. But a big driver of the timeline is the sheer scale of the scaffolding that's required. So this is likely to be one of the largest scaffolding structures ever used in Cornwall. It takes around 12 weeks to put up and about 8 weeks to dismantle, and it has to be installed in 2 separate stages, so residents can maintain access and we can keep the one-way system running. So in total, around 40 weeks of the programme is just scaffolding, and when you combine that with the phased works across 2 buildings and the safety constraints that have to be in place on site, that's what drives that overall timeline.
I see in different outlets before that you've said that you might like to see the work completed more quickly. What changes might you like to see?
Yeah, so that was obviously before I'd been involved to any great extent with the contractors and I didn't understand the complexity of the works going on. But I have been clear that this needs to be delivered as efficiently as possible, and I have been pushing for that. So as a local councillor, and after I heard about the planned works a few months ago, I brought together the contractor, Cornwall Council Highways, the Town Council, the BID, emergency services, to go through the plans in detail, challenge the timelines and approaches wherever we could. So as it stands, I am satisfied that an awful lot of work has gone into this from Classic Builders and all the other teams involved. But we'll keep pushing to make sure that it stays on track and moves as quickly and as safely, crucially, as it can.
Yeah, it's so important, isn't it? As you can imagine, we're already hearing concerns from residents and local businesses in the area as well. What impact do you expect that this will have on them?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've already been contacted by a number of concerned businesses, which is completely understandable. There will be disruption. There's no sugarcoating that, particularly around traffic and construction activity, and the one-way system will certainly add a few minutes onto journey times. But the contractors have worked hard to minimise that wherever possible, and I'm happy that they're doing all that they can in that regard. The key point is that the actual town remains open and fully accessible. Businesses, car parks, service areas, they're all staying open, and it's really important that people continue to support them throughout the duration of the works.
Naturally as well, like you touched on earlier, public transport will also be disrupted. Can you detail what changes might have been made to bus routes, for example?
Yeah, so I have received a full service update from Go Cornwall Bus, which is available online for residents to go and view. There's been ongoing coordination between transport teams, highways and the contractors, but to summarise simply, if you normally catch your bus or get off the bus on the White River Cinema side of the road, then you will instead use the South Street stop instead. If you normally catch a bus towards the town centre from 4 turnings, then you will instead need to wait at the Milestone bus stop, which will still be served by some bus routes. There will also be a public engagement event at St Austell bus station on the 6th of July, where people can give feedback, and I would encourage as many people to go as possible to make sure their voices are heard.
Yes, we reiterate that as well. Also concerns around things like emergency service teams and things like pedestrian access and accessibility. What have you learned about what that might look like?
Yeah, so access has absolutely been a key focus throughout this. There will be pedestrian diversions, but also protected walkways and maintained access routes, including for residents. The scaffolding is being installed in stages, specifically to maintain access as the works progress. And that's the key point. Nowhere is inaccessible. It just might take a couple of extra minutes to get there.
Sure, no problem. Finally then, thank you so much for your time and explaining some of these really sort of crucial points as well that often get kind of missed in the midst of all of the sort of noise about what's actually happening. What can our listeners expect next, and how can they stay informed or raise concerns as the work progresses?
Absolutely. So traffic management starts from late at night on Monday, the 22nd of June, with the main construction work following in early July. So there will be regular updates online and a dedicated liaison officer on site for residents and businesses to raise concerns with directly, being provided for by the contractors, Classic Builders. I would also encourage people to attend the bus engagement event on 6th of July. And of course, I'm also happy to answer questions directly and support where I can. All residents and businesses can reach me via email, cllr.jack.yelland@cornwall.gov.uk.
Wonderful. Jack, thank you so much for your time. I just want to reiterate, we do appreciate it. Is there anything else you'd like to add that you think is important for people to hear, or anything we might not have covered?
No, I think really for me, the absolutely critical thing to know is that everywhere is accessible. The works are going to look absolutely massive. The sheer scale of what is about to be embarked on is, it's no laughing matter. It really is. It's going to be absolutely massive. But the thing is, everywhere will remain accessible, and people just need to keep that in mind. It might add a couple of minutes to your journey, but there is absolutely no reason that you won't be able to access the town centre, the service yard, the car parks in exactly the same way that you have been. So please do try and make every effort to support our local businesses through what's going to be quite a challenging time.
NEWSWAVE.
Right, you're listening to NEWSWAVE here on Chaos Radio with me, Tom Howe. A brand new book is shining a light on the remarkable history of RAF sub-aqua diving, from its beginnings in the 1950s right through to today, and is even helping injured veterans rebuild their lives. I caught up with local author Campbell Allan to find out more about Through Adversity to the Depths.
NEWSWAVE.
Well, my name is Campbell Allan. I had Scottish parents. Sadly, they're not around now. I was born in Belfast in 1958, and in 1975, I joined the Royal Air Force as an aircraft mechanic, serving a total of 30 years in the Royal Air Force. And whilst I was in the Royal Air Force, at a very young age of 17, I learnt to scuba dive with the RAF Odium sub-aqua club, which is based in Hampshire and happens to be the base of the battlefield helicopter, ostensibly the Chinook.
Can you just start by telling us about Through Adversity to the Depths and what inspired you to explore the history, I suppose, of RAF sub-aqua diving?
Okay, about 4 summers ago, it'd be 4 summers this year, so summer of 22, a very good friend of mine from my RAF Germany days came down to Cornwall, looked me up as he normally does, and we were going down the River Foy on my boat, and we were reminiscing, as veterans do. And it wasn't until he went home in his car, and about a week later I phoned him up, and I said to him, "Do you know, Mark, we should write all this down. What we've reminisced about is history, and it shouldn't be lost." So I then put a proposal to him that I would like to write a book on the history of scuba diving within the Royal Air Force and about the Royal Air Force Sub-Aqua Association, which incidentally is now called the RAF Scuba Association, but that's detail. And he thought, wow, he said, that's a big undertaking. And I know. I said, I couldn't do it on my own. Would you like to join me? And the rest is history. And then the 5th of May this year, we published.
Wow. Okay. And the book looks back then at the origins of the UK's first underwater diving school, if I'm correct, in Dartmouth in 1953, right up to sort of today. What are some of the most fascinating, I suppose, discoveries that you uncovered during that early period?
I think for us, the light bulb moment was when we found out that a man called Trevor Hampton, AFC, which stands for Air Force Cross, was a World War II bomber pilot and test pilot. And he started the UK's first scuba diving school in Warfleet Creek, Dartmouth. But what's more interesting is some of the people who were famous that he trained. He not only trained Oscar Gudgeon and Peter Small, who became the co-founders of the British Sub-aqua Club, and they started in October of 1953 to form the BSAC, but they trained up celebrities like the notable author Arthur C. Clarke, Richard Dimbleby, Johnny Morris, TV's children presenter, Tony Sopper, who was a naturalist, and the last one, which amazed me, was Sir David Attenborough. And out of all those people, Sir David Attenborough is the one who's still alive.
Wow.
And I wrote to him, and he wrote back, which was absolutely fascinating, and he corroborated a couple of the stories which are in the book. But Trevor Hampton was an amazing man, and from 1953 to 1974, he trained over 3,000 divers. He trained not only people from all corners of the globe, but he trained a lot of people who ended up becoming commercial divers, because up until the point of the health and safety executive instating health and safety level 3 courses, anybody could become a commercial diver. So I found that absolutely fascinating. And out of all the divers that he did train, he trained about 100 service divers, of which were equally spread between the Royal Air Force, the Navy and the Army.
It's so nice to get an appreciation of something that, you know, just affects so many people's lives, and we don't see. It's almost sort of this general population aren't aware necessarily. I love having these conversations about getting a better appreciation of how much it means to people, what it represents, these exciting findings and things as well. And I was reading some of the press material that's come out from the book, and was reading about, I don't want to give too much away because obviously we want people to pick up copies themselves if they're so inclined to do so, but aircraft recoveries, different diving expeditions around the world as well. It must have been a remarkable journey, not just for yourself, recounting your own memories, but hearing sort of accounts from other people too.
Yeah. Well, Mark Godden, who's my co-author, he lives up near Crewe. He's got a young family, and he works in the nuclear industry. I'm semi-retired, so I project managed this whole process. But I could not have done it without Mark's help, because we've both brought skills, different skills, to the fore. And what we found through our research is a plethora of information. In fact, so much information that we could have written another book. So it's about sifting through and finding the best. So on the cover of the book is a Halifax bomber, tail number W for Whiskey 1048, which was raised from Lake Hocklingen in Norway in 1973 by RAF Sub-aqua Association divers and Norwegian divers from the Drochen Dive Club in Trondheim on the west coast of Norway. But what's interesting about this aircraft is that it took off in 1943 from RAF Kinloss to join other aircraft to go and bomb the German battleship Tirpitz in a Norwegian fjord. And that was on the orders of Winston Churchill, because he felt that this battleship must be neutralised, because without it being neutralised, it posed a huge problem on the routes going to Murmansk and up to Russia, because obviously at that time Russia was an ally, and for shipping. But it got shot down by batteries around the Tirpitz, and it managed to escape the fjord. Its number 4 engine was on fire. It put it out, and it increased the throttles and engines 1, 2 and 3, climbed out of the fjord, and about 6 kilometres inland, it crash landed with its wheels up on a frozen lake. All the crew bar one. The radio operator broke his ankle, and he ended up being taken prisoner by the Nazis, and the rest of the crew made their way to neutral Sweden and back to UK. The aircraft consequently fell through the ice once it melted and settled in 90 feet of water. And in 1968, the Draken Diving Club from Trondheim, which was a Norwegian civilian diving club, found it. And they wrote to the museum at RAF Hendon in London saying they'd found this, and is there any way they could liaise with the RAF divers to maybe come over and look at it. The museum wrote to the RAF Sub-aqua Association, and in 1971 sent a mini expedition with a gentleman called Peter Cornish, who was a civilian, but he had been involved in other aircraft recoveries, and RAF divers, and they found it along with the Norwegian divers. They photographed it, they sketched it, and they planned an expedition. And a good friend of ours called Ray Butchart, of Mark, my co-author, and myself, from my Germany days, as a young man, he was on that expedition in 73. And with the Norwegian divers, they raised it to the surface. It still got fuel in it. They brought it into the side. They defueled it. They took the engines off. They took the wings off. It was put on low loaders, taken to the coast, put on navy barges, taken to England, and eventually ended up in the Hendon Museum. And after 10 years of volunteers, RAF volunteers, engineers, ex-engineers working on it, it was presented to the Queen Mother in 1983 with the Canadian crew who had flown it. They were still alive, and the RAF divers. So anybody that wants to see that aircraft can go to the Hendon Museum and see it. And that's just one of many aircraft that RAF divers have been involved in. There's other ones in Malta, a guy called Kevin Patience, who's in the book, and there's also a prolific author. He's written 11 books, and he helped me, or helped Mark and I, with the research. And in the Valletta Museum, there is remains of a Spitfire engine, which he found in Gozo. So, it's things like that. It's fascinating, absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. It's such an incredible story. These moments in time that you talked about, we don't want to let them slip through the cracks and be forgotten about. These stories, we're very passionate about, voicing these experiences and these moments for people to remember and enjoy to a certain extent in the years to come. I wanted to move on to another important part of the book, which is supporting injured veterans, not just sort of veterans and serving personnel, but injured veterans as well. How important is that element of the story?
Well, to both Mark and I, it's very important. And this came about with Mark being at the NAEC Exhibition Centre up in Coventry in February, March of 2023, where he met a Colonel Mark Foster, who was a plastic surgeon in one of the biggest hospitals in Birmingham. And Colonel Foster told Mark about a charity called Diving with the Injured, which Mark just happened to stumble upon. And of course, Colonel Foster was a diver. And so this charity, effectively, any veteran, and it's not just Army, it could be Royal Marines, Air Force or Navy, who got injured and has gone through that hospital, is introduced to the DWI team, Diving with the Injured. So a lot of these veterans, whether it be from injury through an amputation because of an explosion that has happened out in Afghanistan or Iraq, or hidden injuries through PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, a lot of these veterans cannot work again. They lose their job. They lose their sense of identity. So what Mark did, Colonel Foster did, was along with other veterans who were nurses, carers, and not just army carers, RAF nurses, male and female, and some Navy. They were all divers. They trained veterans to scuba dive. And through the charity, they raised funds to take them to places like Ghan, the Maldives, or the Red Sea in warm climates. And American studies have shown that if you train a veteran to scuba dive, not just a veteran, but somebody who's a first responder who suffered immense stress and experienced trauma, it will reduce or help to reduce their PTSD by up to 80%. And by reducing it by such an amount, they are less likely to commit suicide. And I'll give you an example of that. In 1982, at 24 years of age, I was in the Falklands. There was approximately 245, I may not have got the exact figure right, but approximately 245 British servicemen killed. Since then, there's been over 300 have committed suicide, veterans. In America, it's 8,000 every year. I don't have a definitive answer on how many veterans, in UK commit suicide each year, but it's very high. So for Mark and I, who have done so much with scuba diving, we've taken a lot, we want to give something back. So although this book is self-published, it stands at $29.99 through Foy Valley Books, who are the distributors. We are giving a proportion to two charities, the RAF Benevolent Fund, who help serving members of the RAF and their families, and who help veterans and their families. And the other half is going to diving with the injured. And that way we've sort of balanced it, because we're actually helping not only the RAF, we're helping the Army, we're helping the Navy in the way of veterans. That's the story, really.
Well, it's a wonderful thing to do, to have taken so much from the community and so much joy and so many experiences over the years. To be able to give something back as well is an incredible thing to be able to do. You just touched upon it there, but if people listening perhaps want to get hold of a copy or learn more, maybe they want to get in touch with yourselves and share some of their own thoughts, how can they do that?
Okay, well, if they want to buy the book, they can go to online to www.foy Valley Books, that's all one word, Fowey, foyvalleybooks.com, and we're selling the book on Shopify. And just to give you an example of how popular it's been, in a month, just over a month, we've sold 120 books, which I'm delighted at, absolutely delighted at, and so is Mark. If anybody wants to get hold of me, and they've got stories they want to tell or anything related to scuba diving or whatever, they can get hold of us at info@foyvalleybooks.com.
Wonderful. Campbell, you've been so so generous with your time this morning. We really appreciate the little journey through some of the stories there that you're sharing with people. Is there anything else that you wanted to add that you think is important for people to hear, or anything that we might not have covered?
In the book, the last chapter covers a thing called Exercise Maltese Eagle. And that is really up to date what people are doing in the Royal Air Force now. But why is scuba diving so important? Scuba diving, the skills that you get, and it doesn't matter what rank you are, it doesn't matter how young, how old you are, colour, creed, religion, doesn't come into it. It's very much an equal sport for everybody. But adventurous training, or AT in the military, is taken very seriously. And the reason it's so important is it helps to develop our leaders of the future. So by carrying out scuba diving, not only are you getting enjoyment out of it, but you're learning an awful lot about teamwork, about leadership, and the technical aspect of diving. could I just put a shout out to Mid-Cornwall divers in St Austell, to Nicola and Mike Tremellen, and to Tony Milne and his wife April, who hosted me last Wednesday when I gave a talk about the book. And again, if there's anybody in St Austell who would like to learn more about sub-aqua, they can look up on the British Sub-Aqua Club website and find the Mid-Cornwall's Diver site. I think the one thing more than anything that I'd like to say publicly is a big thank you to my co-author, Mark Godden. Unfortunately, due to medical reasons, my age, and Mark's the same, neither of us dive anymore. We both really miss our scuba diving days. But, you know, this last 3 years plus has been one long dive with the research, you know, into people's logbooks, into history books, into archives. And I think for me, you know, it's been that journey which has been fantastic. And I've got Mark to thank for that, who accompanied me on this journey. But more than anything, if this book helps people to understand about diving with the injured and helps veterans, and especially if it saves a life, then it'll have been really worth it.
Now, A Band of Brothers is a community initiative focused on transforming the lives of young men aged between 18 and 25. ABOB, as it's affectionately known, provides mentorship and support to young men who have faced challenges such as involvement with the criminal justice system or having been care leavers. Their work helps these young men turn their lives around by fostering positive relationships with older mentors, offering them guidance and building community connections. Joining us to share more about A Band of Brothers' work was Richard Gray, a key figure in ABOB's Mid-Cornwall team. Now, the first part of our chat aired during our last edition of NEWSWAVE, which you can go back and listen to anytime via chaos.radio. We pick up with Richard for the second part of the interview, and he starts by sharing information regarding their incredible mentor system.
NEWSWAVE.
So within the Mid-Cornwall group, there are people whose hair has changed colour over the years, let's put it that way, and it isn't necessarily due to some artificial bleach that has been applied. So we do have men of a certain age. So we've got myself, I'm 72, I'm not ashamed of the fact. Wow. So I'm 72 and we have older men, that sort of age group in their late 60s. We've got men in their 40s and 50s. And we've got a few younger men who are in their 30s. So we've got within the group, as I say, we've got about 18 older men. It's spread across a wide range of ages. We're not all old men, and we have some younger men who are in their 30s who are also mentoring with us. So we've got a wide range of ages. And also from different walks of life and different life experience, which is really, I would say, probably more important than the age thing, is that we have people who've been there, to not necessarily in some of the situations that the men we work with are in, but certainly they're men who've experienced life. They haven't been cosseted through privilege necessarily. They haven't grown up in a greenhouse and never been exposed to the wind of adversity. And so there is a certain amount of empathy, but we're not there as mentors to be our mentee's buddy. We're there to walk alongside them. So although it's useful to have a certain amount of experience, what is more important is the ability to challenge and to stand firm and enable the young man to stand firm while they encounter some of the stuff that they want to engage with in order to experience change for the better.
Wonderful. And you've been getting quite a lot of attention as well. You've in your notes that you've kindly passed over of things you've been up to lately, which is quite extensive. You mention a royal garden party and a talk with someone very prestigious. Go ahead, tell us about the meeting with the king.
Oh, that's who you mean by prestigious. I thought it was me.
Oh, of course, two very prestigious gentlemen.
No, let's delete that bit. No, I mean, I was caught. So January, I got an email from the Lord Lieutenant of Cornwall saying he'd invited me to the Royal Garden Party at Buckingham Palace in May. To which my wife said, "Someone's pulling your leg."
Wow.
She said, "No, hang on. She said, "Where did this come from?" I said, "Well, it's come from County Hall and the Lord Lieutenant." You said, and she's, "Nah." She said, "No." So I didn't phone them up and say, "Is this for real?" I thought, well, I better respond and see what happens. So I did, and in the fullness of time, an invitation arrives, So we had the privilege and the excitement, and it was exciting. To go up to London and go to the garden party in the grounds of Buckingham Palace, and it was pure luck. It wasn't that I was singled out particularly. We just happened to be standing in the right place at the right time when His Majesty, or His Royal Highness, came down the line of people and engaged him with my wife. Initially, she was standing in front of me, and he extended his hand and had a little chat, and then he said, which charity are you representing? She said, "Well, actually, it's my husband you need to speak to." And so he said, "Which charity?" And I said, "Well, work with a band of brothers, sir." And he asked a little bit about it. I told him a little bit more about what we were up to. And he suggested I should make some representative to the King's Benevolent Fund. And I say literally, it was probably a 30-second exchange or something like that. But yeah, a real honour, a thrill, and something wonderful. I can't stop grinning about.
It's absolutely wonderful.
Of course, we had a little bit of tea at the same time. So we had a little bit of Victoria sandwich and a raspberry tart and a cup of tea. And mind you, there's 7,998 other people there at the same time. So it's not exactly you've got the place to yourself.
Quite a queue for the sandwiches then, I imagine.
No, they had it very well organised.
Oh, excellent.
There was hardly any queuing. You had to queue to get in. So, but that's sort of expected. And this was the first Wednesday of the garden parties. And but you had to queue to get in. But everybody was from charitable outfits. So there was a lot of chatting, a lot of camaraderie, and a lot of people saying, "Oh, would you take our picture?" and swapping phones out, taking pictures of one another and that sort of stuff. So yeah, very, very, very lovely little occasion. And you only get invited once, so you better if you get the invitation, make the most of it. And so yeah, great. It was a great accolade to have been asked on behalf. So I got asked because of the work of a band of brothers. Nothing to do with me, purely because of the work that myself and other men do within Cornwall as part of the charity. But just nice to be recognised.
Yeah, that's wonderful recognition. Let's talk about some of your work in the county then. These youth hubs, this youth engagement programme with Cornwall County Council across St Austell, Liskeard and Poole as well. Is that in the building over in, is it Austell?
So yes, so the youth engagement programme, YEPs, work with, and I think I got it right, but I may not, all right? I haven't got it in front of me. So 16 to 24-year-olds who are what's known as NEETs. I hate acronyms, but not in education, employment and training. And so they have launched, I say they, that's the Cornwall County Council and also the Department of Work and Pensions are in there as well, and other providers. So they've launched some youth hubs. The largest one, in the sense of dates that it functions, seems to be the one in St Austell, that meets in St Austell, the county building in White River Place. We talked earlier about charities and money and the rest of it. At the moment, these, as I understand it, are pilot projects because there is only limited funding available. So it's really to be involved with the young people that come in through the door there. And as far as a band of brothers is concerned, to offer our mentoring program to those people who may be interested, in the hope that, like with everything that we do, that we might be part of a program that enables them to enhance, find a better future for themselves.
And you're very visible, aren't you? I've seen you, a number of your representatives and colleagues and volunteers around sort of the town in St Austell especially, but you're involved with the St Piran's Day March. You're involved in various wellbeing fairs as well, aren't you?
Yeah, no, we like to be. It's fine to say. We started off by saying, I'm from a band of brothers, and so people say, well, who are you? What's that? And so, if that's the immediate knee-jerk reaction, then it beholdens somebody, I think, to sort of say, hang on a minute, we need to at least increase our public profile. And although it may not necessarily generate any referrals, it's important, in my judgment, to do these things. As you say, we've been at the St Piran's Day March last year. The mayor had a fun day, so we were there, just had a stall out on White River Place. We're invited in by the job centres, so we've been in Truro, St Austell and Bodmin Job Centre. We were due to go to Newquay, but I wasn't able to make that. I had to pull the plug on that. So that's down to us rather than them. So we're there at these wellbeing fairs where they encourage their clients to come in and talk to organisations that might be able to support. So that's sort of a joint project between the work coaches and the job centres and ourselves and other organisations. And we've also, ASDA have also given us space in the front of their foyer on a Saturday just to wave a flag and hand out some leaflets. So yes, I think it's just a question of getting out there. You just never know who you're going to meet as a consequence. And so people say, well, what is the correlation between your presence there and referrals? Well, I guess a farmer could probably tell you for every ton of seed he puts in the ground how much harvest he's going to get from it. But I guess there's a certain amount of luck. Sorry, all the farming community is going to come back and tell me that, I know nothing about agriculture, which is absolutely right. I don't. But I think there is a certain amount of stuff that you have to use that horrible phrase, you have to speculate to accumulate, and to a certain extent we need to be out there talking about what we do, because at some stage we may just be at the right place at the right time in order to change somebody's future.
You run your own events, don't you? You have your excellent homecoming events and a quest weekend as well. What can you tell me about the quest weekend?
Well, I think where we differ from other organisations is that we're a mentoring organisation. So yes, we do work with people who have sort of mental health situations, but we are a mentoring organisation. So we're older men trained in mentoring techniques to work alongside younger men and challenge them in regard to maybe their behaviours or talk through what their aspirations for a life are about. So we're a mentoring organisation. And twice a year, we run a residential weekend where we take the men away, the young men away into nature for the weekend, and we staff it with 2 older men to one every younger man. Runs from a Friday night through to a Sunday afternoon. And it's an environment where we can hold the space securely because of the ratio of older to younger men. And we encourage the young men, to really start to make contact and to explore some of their core emotions. So some of our young men are quite angry about life and certain circumstances. So anger is just a manifestation of something. It's neither good nor bad. It's what you do with the anger that's the important thing. And so we look at that and challenge some of the negative aspects of that. So some of our young men experience aspects of anger. A lot of our young men have encountered bereavement and don't really know what to do with it. And so it's an opportunity for them to start unpacking some of their feelings around loss, whether it be immediate family members or friends who are no longer with us, the opportunity to unpack that. And some of these men have a sense of being owed. And from my perspective, to a certain extent, they are, but they're just not handling that particularly well. And so it's been able to channel that energy and challenge them and say, is there really any mileage in pursuing this current course that you're on? Are you able to leave it and embrace a better tomorrow? And that's the challenge of the weekend. And we see some quite extreme outbursts of emotion. But then, if you're going to bring about a lasting change, sometimes, I was going to say, significant surgery is necessary. It's a question of a surgeon with a scalpel may inflict a deep wound, but it's because he's interested in achieving wholeness and healing that he cuts perhaps as deep as he does.
You're aspiring to something. You're looking to continue. You're looking to grow. You're looking to support more people. How can we achieve those goals for you?
Okay, so as I say, we've been very fortunate that we've been able to grow the community of older men to where we are at the present time. However, we prefer to work with referrals from other agencies, and we have not been totally frank and honest. We haven't really cracked that nut yet. So we get referrals from various organisations. So we do get referrals from the Department of Work and Pensions, from the job coaches. We have had referrals from St Petrox. We've had contacts from We Are With You. And however, we are still relatively unknown in that world, so to speak. So part of what I hope perhaps our chat together might achieve, Tom, is that other organisations that are out there who are working with young men, whether they be social prescribers through doctors' surgeries, whether it be probation, whether it be early intervention teams through the NHS, anybody whose path crosses the path of young men, 18 to 25-year-olds who might benefit through working with us, then the request is please do get in contact with us. We're here and the door is open, I think is the message.
NEWSWAVE.
If you've been inspired to reach out to a band of brothers, send an email to info@abob, that's ABOB, midcornwall.org, info@abobmidcornwall.org, or visit abandofbrothers.co.uk. Okay, that's all we've got time for on this week's edition of NEWSWAVE. A big Chaos Radio thank you to everyone that took the time to join us at Rainbow Run Cornwall 2026, to Cornwall Councillor Jack Yelland, to local author Campbell Allan, and to Richard Gray from A Band of Brothers. As ever, a final thank you to you for listening and helping support local journalism to thrive. To catch up on all our coverage, as well as to check out our extensive back catalogue of interviews and shows, head on over to chaos.radio. And remember, if you have a local news story that you'd like to share with us, email news@chaos.radio or search Chaos Radio UK across socials. NEWSWAVE has been produced and presented by me, Tom Howe, and is a Chaos Radio production for the Cornwall Community Media Network.
NEWSWAVE.
Chaos.radio. Music, podcasts, entertainment.